Welcome back to the Make-Break Society. Today we'll be looking at Raspberry Pi benchmarks for RetroPie, RecalBox, Batocera, and Lakka. We'll be using the versions found on the Raspberry Pi Imager as of November 15th for all except RetroPie. Currently RetroPie needs to be installed manually. I have a video for that up at the top right corner, as well as a link down in the description. As for hardware, we'll be using a Raspberry Pi 5 with 8 gigs of RAM, a SanDisk Extreme U3A2 128 gig SD card, and a PlayStation 4 DualShock controller. Testing will be done in order of original system release. So that order is going to be Sega Saturn, November 1994, Nintendo 64, September 1996, Dreamcast, November 1998, PlayStation 2, March 2000, GameCube, September 2001, Nintendo DS, November 2004, and Sony PSP, March 2005. All tests will be done with the stock OS settings. However, with Batocera, I had to turn tweaks such as frame skip off as they were on by default. Any core that did not have an FPS counter built in was switched out for the first available core that did have one. With Lakka, I picked the first core on the list as there is no core set by default. Pre-game scores will be taken during first boot up, at the title screen, and during pre-gameplay load-in. Those scores will be averaged. Then I will take 3 scores captured during 5 minutes of gameplay. Once I have the pre-game average, the in-game scores, and any penalties, I will average them together to get the final score for the game. There will also be bonus points awarded for the operating system in 3 categories. 50-point maximum for style, 70-point maximum for compatibility, that's 10 points for each system it can play, and 50 points for ease of use. I won't have any footage for bonus points due to its subjective nature and the runtime of this video. I also won't be using any audio from the games in an attempt to avoid a copyright strike. Now with all that out of the way, let's get into it. First up, we will be testing Tomb Raider on the Sega Saturn. RecalBox and Batocera are using the Yabbasi and Shiro core. RetroPie and Lakka will be using the Yabbasi core. On RetroPie, this core needs to be installed. As you can see, RetroPie and Lakka are getting some game-breaking bugs with the Yabbasi core. They will both take a 40-point hit to their total scores, giving them an average frame rate of 24 and 27 frames per second respectively. RecalBox had some minor dips, giving it a score of 59.25. Batocera takes the win with a perfect 60. Here's your 10-second seizure warning as we have some problems in Panzer Dragoon. RecalBox and Lakka are both running very smooth, but seem to be limited at 50 frames per second. Batocera would have posted an almost perfect score if not for flashing, giving it a total score of 39.8. That gives RetroPie the win here with a score of 56.25. And for Sega Saturn, RecalBox takes the win with a total score of 109.25. Next up is N64. All operating systems are using the Mupin 64 Plus. RetroPie and Batocera are using the next variant. This is the easiest system we're going to be testing. First up is Conker's Bad Fur Day. All four systems run flawlessly, posting perfect scores of 60 FPS. Next up is Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. And once again, we have a flawless result of 60 FPS for all four systems. That gives us a four-way tie of 120 FPS for N64. Now on to the Sega Dreamcast. All four operating systems are using the Flycast core. On RetroPie, this core needs to be installed. The first game we're going to be testing is Resident Evil Code Veronica. This game seems to be frame limited at 30 FPS, and all systems hit that with no problem. Next, in Sega Rally, we don't seem to have FPS caps, but we do have problems. RecalBox is never able to get into game. RetroPie has a mess of in-game frame rates, giving it a score of 40.83. Batocera and Lakka hit almost perfect 60 in-game, giving them scores of 56.83 and 56.58 respectively. That gives Batocera the win with Dreamcast with a total score of 86.83. Now let's look at the PlayStation 2. This is our hardest system to emulate, and only RetroPie and Lakka actually have cores available. RetroPie is running Ether SX2. This requires manual installation. Instructions can be found in the description. Lakka is using the Play emulator. Our first game is Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. Lakka has a weird bouncing image. It doesn't make it unplayable, but it's distracting enough to award a 20-point hit penalty, giving it a total score of 21 points. RetroPie had one frame stutter, but otherwise stayed at 50 frames per second, giving it a total of 45. Next up is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Lakka really struggles here with an unplayable score of 9. RetroPie, on the other hand, feels really good with a score of 55. RetroPie takes a big win here with an overall score of 100. Now on to GameCube. RecalBox is still unable to run this system, but the other three are using the Dolphin core. This core needs to be installed on RetroPie. The first game will be The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. This game is locked at 30 FPS in-game, but not during the loading cinematic. All feels good, but RetroPie sneaks out a win with 32.5 points. Now for the hard one, F-Zero GX. Both RetroPie and Lakka can't get in-game, but Batocera posts a score of 32.25. I dug around in this core for Batocera, assuming that there was some kind of tweak on, but no, it just runs really well. That gives Batocera the GameCube win with a total score of 63.25. Time for the first of our two handhelds, the Nintendo DS. RecalBox still can't run this core. RetroPie and Lakka are running DSMU. This core needs to be installed on RetroPie. Batocera is running Melon DS. First up is Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. This game basically runs perfect with all three once you get the hang of using the touchscreen. All three post a score of 60 FPS. Now on to Solo to Robo, Red the Hunter. And once again, they run perfect with scores of 60 FPS. Giving us a three-way tie of 120 points for the Nintendo DS. And last up, the Sony PSP. All operating systems are running PPSSPP. First game we'll be looking at is God of War: Chains of Olympus. This game runs perfectly on all systems. The load-in cinematic is capped at 30 frames per second, giving us a total score of 57.5. Last up is MotorStorm, Arctic Edge. This is a bit of struggle for all systems, but the weird distracting shadows in RecalBox earns it a 20-point hit. Lakka just barely takes this one with a score of 25.4. And again, just barely giving Lakka the PSP win with a total score of 82.91. Okay, and that's it for testing. Now let's look at the total FPS scores across all games. We have RecalBox in 4th place with a total score of 336.57, Lakka and Batocera with scores of 553.25 and 572.47 respectively, and our winner, RetroPie, with a total FPS score of 611.25. Now let's have a look at bonus points. We'll start with style, which is out of 50 points. All but RetroPie feel nice and modern. RetroPie is fine, but as soon as you want to do something like install emulators or set up Wi-Fi, you're dropped into an interface that feels right out of the 90s. In some cores, you have to install them manually using the terminal. Next is compatibility out of 70 points. That's 10 points per system. RecalBox and Batocera support most systems, but not all of them. Lakka and RetroPie had full support, even if cores need to be installed on RetroPie. Lastly, we have ease of use out of 50 points. RetroPie again loses points because of how much manual setup there is. Lakka loses a bit here just because it doesn't have any cores set by default. Batocera and Lakka tie here with a total of 160 bonus points. And here it is. Like last time, Batocera takes the win with 732.47 points. However, unlike last time, the gap between first and third is less than 25 points, and the bonus points made all the difference this time. So in conclusion, if you want the widest compatibility and you don't mind tinkering, then RetroPie is a clear choice. But if you just want to set it and forget it, then Batocera and Lakka could be better for you. So I hope this video has shown you the strengths and weaknesses of each OS. If you like this video, leave it a like and get subscribed to stay up to date with my future videos and so you don't miss the PSP giveaway announcement. And until next time, remember, it doesn't matter if you make or break, as long as you're having fun.